Hey, welcome to your day off. My name is Corey. I'm the host of this here podcast. Listen, man, my guest today, we've created a friendship over, I guess, the last 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. But they were actually introduced to me from somebody that I actually met on a hairdressing floor as well. I think it was 3 years ago. I met the amazing Oliver Zach at the Orlando Hair Show. And it's really weird. Like, back up. So Oliver is the CEO and the developer of Mad Rabbit Tattoo. I would say Balm, but it's an entire system now. So the tattoo system. He was also on Shark Tank, and we had him on the podcast a few years ago. Like, I probably asked way too many questions about Shark Tank, but like, when else do you get an inside look at like how these processes work, how these TV shows work and stuff? So, Zach was definitely, or Oliver was definitely our insight for that. But with that, I didn't really think that, you would find, we gain a friendship out of, through that. But not only that, but they introduced me to these guys today, and they're doing something really pretty interesting, pretty cool. I'm very excited to have them on. I'm very excited about their brand. It's Ben and Boone I call them the B-Boys of Highland, but I'm way interested in how these things get started, how one starts a brand, how one is motivated to start a brand in Highland. What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up, Corey?
What's going on? Thanks for having us.
What an
Of
intro.
course, man. Of course, man. We haven't talked in a while. We haven't talked since like April at the hair show at ABS in Chicago.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's been a minute. And you've been so generous with your scheduling flexibility for us, but we've been really excited to come on talking about that early connection through Oliver Zach. Since Oliver told us about you and your podcast, Corey, that was probably like 2023. We've wanted to come on, and we had the pleasure of meeting you shortly after that in Orlando at Highlands, at the first ever industry event Highland attended, where we had a little like 6x8 booth.
Super dinky. Yeah. And we didn't know anyone too. So when Oliver set us up, we're like, oh man, like Corey's dropping by the booth. We got to be there in the morning. It's great hanging out after the event. I mean, we really felt welcome. So yeah, thanks again.
Dude, you made us feel so welcome. I remember we were really nervous. We were like, oh man, we really got to give the hair industry team a good impression of Highland. And you guys were so welcoming, like as a young brand who didn't have that many industry connections at the time. Like you and Katie ended up being the people we knew there. You guys made us feel so welcome. I think that kind of speaks to how cool that this industry is kind of as a whole too. And yeah, just really appreciate you for being a leader and voice in the industry and making it a better place.
Well, I will tell you this. I mean, we can talk about this for days because it's actually one of my favorite subjects, but this industry has been so open-hearted to pretty much anybody that kind of shows up. Now, I do think, and I know we talked about this before we even went, how you show up is how the industry is going to open heart to you, and it's really, really important that not every communication is transactional. And I think you just kind of meet people where they are, and I think the sky's the limit. Honestly, I think that the industry is really warm when it comes to that. And that certainly has been my experience. That's not 100% of the time, but it's certainly close to 95% of the time. It's just like everybody's so warm and welcoming. And honestly, for me to be able to introduce you to some of my friends and stuff who I know are warm and welcoming, that's just kind of me paying back the appreciation that I had for them being warm and welcoming to me. I don't know where I'm going, but anyways, other than it's a cool industry, man.
No, it's true. I feel like speaking to Orlando and ABS specifically, like our most special moments were just when we were hanging at the booth with the likes of yourselves and other industry people versus doing anything transactional, hanging out, meeting people, just chit-chatting. It was just super fun and something that we were pretty new to. Orlando, like Boone said, was our first. So yeah, man, we had fun.
How'd you guys like them? How'd you like the hair industry as the hair industry?
It's an interesting place, dude. I think it's evolving so fast too, right? Like those shows, from what we've heard, are not quite what they used to be, in terms of attendance and size and perhaps importance of being there. I don't know if that's because, you can reach so many people on the internet today or what it is, but I think it's important to show up, at least for us, on occasion. And like you talk about, kind of what you put in is what you get out. And for Ben and I, we always want to do things as authentically and genuinely as possible. So showing up and actually being part of the industry that we're in and trying to, bring forward step by step is is critical. So I think we'll keep doing them. But I'm curious for your take too. You've been to so many more than we have. You're the expert. I really want to know your perspective on these industry events.
I mean, it's a little different for us, right? Because I mean, I'm there for different reasons. I'm not there for commerce. I'm not there to buy stuff. I'm really there to. We say whenever we go to the shows, what we want to do is we want to dig a little bit deeper with our old friends, and we want to find new friends. And start to always be building in that way. How do we build deeper, and how do we build not more as far as abundance, but how do we get to know more people? And I mean, for the podcast, it's great too, because we have people that we can bring on and things like that. But those are always our goals, and it's really the only space that we can kind of do that. Where we can kind of meet up with people and meet new people and meet new brands. That's the one thing, is there's a billion new brands every year. So who's gonna survive, or who's gonna sustain, or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna bring you guys all the way back. I want like your origin story. So when I first met you guys, you had two products, you had two SKUs on there. How did those come about, and whose idea was it, and why is this a smart idea? Was the intention to build a business, or was the intention to see where this thing goes?
Yeah, it's a great question. We love giving the origin story, so we'll give the best background we can. Ben and I, to go back a step further, Ben and I met during our days at CU Boulder, out in undergrad there, and we were both strategic advertising majors and business entrepreneurship minors. So from the early days, Ben and I socializing and becoming such good friends, we kind of shared this interest in hopefully doing something different, something that felt more meaningful to us. For us, I think that meant we didn't want to fall into the traditional 9 to 5 right away. So of course, after graduating college, that's exactly what both of us did. The 9 to 5s
Hard to avoid it.
for quite some time.
Uh-huh.
But I think we look back on those times with, positively, important experience. During those days at CU Boulder, as you can tell, Corey, I care a lot about what my hair looks like, probably too much. And that I always did. But growing up in Boulder, which was this really health conscious, eco conscious place, I had those values instilled in me from a really young age to be hyper conscious of what I'm putting into my body, onto my body, all of these things. I was the kid with the compostable sack lunches and everything, organic always. So in college, fast forward a bit, I was using pretty much every one of the best in class men's hairstyling products under the sun, picking those up at the high-end local barbershops and salons in Boulder. And, as I was using a bunch of these hair products, kind of experimenting what was best for me and what I liked best, I started to run into this problem of like, man, this doesn't feel true to my values at all. Like, all of these products have lengthy, questionable ingredient lists at best, and much worse, the deeper you kind of dive in, all packaged in single-use plastic. And, kind of started to just feel really disenchanted with like, man, this is the top shelf of high-end hair products for men and, really for women too. That sort of kicked off my search for like, all right, I need to find something that's natural, that's hopefully has some sustainable elements to it, that feels better for me using day to day. I couldn't really find anything. So I was just running around with coconut oil in my hair, looking like a greaser,
Yeah, for sure.
all of my entire senior year at CU, which worked to an extent. But that kind of is what led me to discover, this is kind of a potential gap in the industry. To answer your question, I don't know if I thought it was going to be a business or a business venture right away. I really was coming at it from the place of trying to find something for myself first and foremost. Unable to do so, I started doing research. This is well before AI. You couldn't enter a prompt as like what natural plant-based ingredients can replace, traditional polymers and gasoline derived ingredients that are in these men's hairstyling products. So it was all Google, a lot of research, a lot of trial and error. I have no chemistry background whatsoever. So I was just throwing clays, waxes, oils, essential oils, powders, uh, onto the stovetop in our small Denver apartment kitchen. And putting those results in my hair. And the early results were not pretty, to put it
Hold
lightly.
on, slow down, slow down. So where did you acquire those? Where did you acquire like the poly or the?
Just wherever online. I mean, a lot of it was actually off of Etsy. I found people on Etsy to be, selling like, 100% organic arrowroot powder and organic beeswax and raw unrefined shea butter. And, these were kind of ingredients that I started selecting through that research of like, all right, so here's sort of the common polymers that are used in men's hairstyling products to deliver that hold and film forming agent. And so like it started like really looked like a ugly research process to find like what natural ingredients kind of have some of those qualities. It wasn't going to really be replacing it like one to one, and I think that's part of like the beauty of Highland is that first product that I made on our stovetop, the Glacial Clay Pomade, it functions differently from anything else on the market. So it's not just a straight up replacement. It's not just a natural, better version of the other products. It is inherently different. And I hope, and what we've kind of like tried to create is like, this is hopefully the evolution of what hairstyling looks like for people who want a more natural look, but still want their hair to look really nice and presentable and controlled and not frizzed up and not falling on their face and all sorts of things. So it's different for sure. And that's kind of been, led us into the Highland philosophy of creating plant-based, science-backed products that are really clean. They're on the cutting edge of clean beauty and pushing forward clean beauty, which we think is still so early, such early days. And yeah, so I guess back to kind of those stovetop days, it was probably 100 batches. Again, I had no chemistry experience. So it was completely trial and error, just putting the results in my hair until I kind of had something I liked, had Ben as my guinea pig. We had a bunch of friends who started trading in their pucks, whatever the brands were. So we kind of, thought, oh, who knows? Maybe we're kind of onto something here. That's when COVID hit. And I remember Ben and I having a conversation, one evening on the couch. What do you remember about that?
2021. Yeah, no, I mean, we both hated our jobs and we were stuck at home with each other. Boone had this really, really awesome product. I started caring about my curls too. I couldn't find anything really, that I was excited about. My frizzy, dry hair. So this was a really awesome, lucky for me, having a roommate that was so into this project. And then, then we started working together more on it.
Before you got there, though, what was your real thoughts when he's cooking shit on the stove?
It was crazy. Boone always, like it was disgusting too. I mean, not only the product itself, but the mess in the kitchen after, like pots and pans and kind of weird smells too, I remember. But after a while, it kind of turned into this beautiful thing. And then we were both using
Forget about the beautiful thing. Like, were there a bunch of pans that were ruined and stuff in the process?
Man, yeah.
I don't know if they were ruined.
It's not ruined, but it would just take a while to clean.
We eventually moved the process into this basement lab after Ben and I, stopped being roommates. I moved in with my girlfriend at the time, and we had this basement that we turned into a lab with a KitchenAid mixer.
The upgrade.
But we had to come into the kitchen upstairs to stir it and mix it and pack it into containers. And that's when it became a problem, when my girlfriend was like, what the hell is all this clay on all of our shit?
God, that's the best, man.
It wasn't pretty.
But she supported it.
It really did.
So yeah, I mean, that's when we were packing it in these little cardboard tins. We had the 9-ingredient glacial clay pomade. I remember the last ingredient, that we put into it that kind of became really sort of the secret sauce to it was vegetable glycerin. Before that, we couldn't really get the consistency right. We were like, yeah, like it's nice in your hair, but it's way too solid. Vegetable glycerin kind of ended up being this hero component of this waterless formula, which we kind of backed into, but that became a really big differentiator between the Glacial Clay Pomade and other hairstyling products on the market, this water-free component, which, without water, you have much less risk of bacterial growth. So it really, it was kind of this perfect storm that ended up supporting a really low count ingredient formula, 9 total ingredients, and the vegetable glycerin base kind of became, just such a unique feature of the product that allowed it to feel great, that allowed it to emulsify amazing into your hands and throughout your hair. And just kind of work really synergistically with the rest of the ingredients in there to deliver what has become a really great selling product. I mean, it's the number 2 selling product on our category in Amazon. We've sold hundreds of thousands of units of this product, mostly online through our Shopify, but we're super proud of the professional placement we've earned into salons and barbershops kind of across the country too. So, and that of course didn't happen on our stovetop. At a certain point in time, really through Oliver Zach, the founder of Mad Rabbit, Ben watched his Shark Tank episode and was like, holy shit, these guys have such a cool, similar story to us. We got to get in touch with these guys. He found out Oliver Zag was from the same hometown, had mutual friends with him. And for some reason, Oliver really took an interest in what we were doing. He ended up loving the product. And, he's been really like our best mentor to date on the business side. And he introduced us to his contract manufacturer who specializes in natural formulations. And that's how we ramped up the formula of the Glacial Clay Pomade. That's how we went ahead and created the second formula, the Glacial Cream. And we're developing a lot right now, but we're still a very young brand, just at 3 SKUs today.
That's amazing. Ben, how'd you stalk out?
I had a friend that went to his high school. He went to a school down the street from me, and I never knew him. He was a year younger than me, funny enough. But I had a really close friend, we both did, that went to the same school. So I reached out to him and he tossed me his number, and I kind of sheepishly sent him a text letting him know about our new venture. And that we would be happy to send him over, the paper package puck. And he was super friendly from day one. It seemed like he always believed in us.
What'd that text say?
Let's see. I don't even remember, man. I mean, it was probably something.
Okay, let's back up.
It was probably really robotic,
So like, what's the
I think I asked
initial
him to hop
pitch?
on a call. I was like, dude, I saw your story. We're on the stovetop currently. I mean, we hadn't even sold 10 units yet. We had a finished product that we loved, and I think I just formed a text around that and like, let me jump on a call with you, man.
Because they did theirs in the crock pot, Corey.
And call it.
And there was 2 dudes. They went on Shark Tank. We were blown away. And Oliver's actually a year younger than us. So we were like, man, like these guys are crushing it. It was really inspirational. And Oliver, was so helpful. Like, it's really scary starting a business and putting yourself out there on social media and stuff. And, I'm sure a lot of our friends, although we have a great network of friends, I'm sure a lot of them behind closed doors were like, man, what the hell are Boone and Ben doing? This is going nowhere fast. So, it's daunting to kind of have to put yourself out there like that. And you really need people like Oliver to show you that it's possible.
Yeah.
He was everything and more during that time, I remember.
Yeah, I was nervous as hell. I remember on the call, like voice shaky, not even knowing what questions to ask. And I had just seen Mark give him 500 grand. So I'm like, okay, well, this guy's got it figured out. But now, I mean, to this day, like Boone and I, like we try to pay it forward just like Oliver did. A lot of people come to us, they're starting a skincare brand or another adjacent brand. And we both always like get a response back, try to hop on a call or shoot over an email and help them out.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Where'd the name Highland come from?
Highland is the name of the street I grew up on in Boulder. So right at the base of the foothills, beautiful spot. Yeah, I just thought it really kind of captured the ethos of the brand, like kind of a higher ground in nature, higher set of values, if you will, and just kind of great origin story. So I, of course, love the name of the street I grew up on, and it kind of stuck.
We should go steal that sign one of these days. We need it in the HQ.
Yeah, we'll get it hung up.
Go steal that.
You should create that. You should commit that felony.
We just went back a couple months ago and got a few pictures taken in front of the signs. We'll send them your way after this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Have you guys done any posts with it?
Maybe.
Yeah, mate. I'm not sure.
Probably.
I have to tell you, and this was my intent, and it was in my pocket the whole time, but I was so overwhelmed I didn't do it. What I wanted to do is I had one of your pucks. When I went to Cambodia, I had one of your pucks with me 24/7, and I wanted to take pictures of me like travel, kind of like a Flat Stanley.
Yeah,
I kind of wanted to I wanted to go on vacation with Highland, and I kind of wanted to take a picture of it. And it was my intention the entire time there. But when you're there, you get so overwhelmed by everything else that it just wasn't top of mind when it needed to be top of mind. But that was absolutely positively my intention. And then I was going to do it in Spain, and I actually remembered to do it in Spain, but I was there with another brand, so I didn't want to get in trouble.
We're just honored that we were in your pocket the whole time.
Yeah.
No,
and perhaps maybe the first puck in Cambodia.
You know what? It may have been the first puck in Cambodia.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. And then also I noticed that all your products are in aluminum packaging. I'm going to assume that's very purposeful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We looked at so many variations of sustainable packaging from the start. They were in these cardboard tins. We just felt like, man, we can't really create this elevated high-end brand if it's going to be packaged in raw cardboard, right? And especially really one of the major issues was that it started to fall apart on people's bathroom counters. The bathroom counter is a war zone. I mean, it's water, toothpaste, like your packaging needs to be able to survive that humid environment. So we looked at, all sorts of like compostable plastics, and, the world's changing. There's great options out there. But what we kept coming back to was tried and true material of aluminum, infinitely recyclable, easy to recycle. People know what to do with it. It's lightweight, it's elegant. So yeah, it ended up kind of just being the perfect solution for the brand. Yeah, and I think the vast majority of all products we ever release will feature aluminum packaging.
So when you're making products for yourself and for your friends, that's different than than launching national, international, or whatever. And then what kind of considerations, and you talked about the 9 ingredients, like what kind of considerations do you have to be as far as shelf life, as far as like what's it called? What the product that makes the product last longer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The preservatives
Yeah,
and
the preservatives and
the
stuff. So
stability. Yeah. And we're still learning a lot about that. Like we have sort of got an education being fed through the fire hose, if you will, throughout this journey of like what you need to do to create great products, what you need to do to create products that have shelf life. The pomade, it comes back to that waterless, nature of it. It worked out great that we haven't needed to use a preservative in there. A few of the different ingredients, kind of have that antimicrobial, antifungal kind of element that is beautiful and wonderful, that like a lot of natural
was that just by
ingredients actually
chance, or
have
was
that.
that strategy?
It was strategy at the time. I really can't speak scientifically to how much those boost the shelf life. I do believe the biggest component of why the pomade is able to last a year, sometimes even 2 years on a shelf, especially if it's unopened, is because it doesn't have water in it. So that's been huge. And, I think as we continue to grow, our second product, our third product, those both feature water, those both feature preservative systems, because at the end of the day, it's really important for us to have a shelf stable product, and for, the botanical ingredients that have all these great potent effects on the hair and scalp to work. And that can't happen if the product's growing mold. So, but we are interested in continuing to check out this waterless formulation. It's something that's happening in the industry on a little bit wider scale now, of innovation through subtraction, in this case, subtracting waters. But I want to go back, Corey. One thing I kind of, forgot to say in that piece of the origin story, and you're absolutely right that it started as like trying to find a solution for myself and my friends first and foremost, which I think, it came from a really authentic place, which is why it worked. But we had every intention of this being, what lives on the most prestige, most high-end salons and barbershop shelves across the country, and hopefully across the world. What we ran into early in these days of the exploration was, hey, why aren't there any natural products on these high-end shelves? The stigma that exists within the professional industry, which is still really prevalent, is that natural products just don't work. They don't live up to the professional standards. So that's what Highland ended up becoming about: is can we make a natural botanical based company and formulations around it that can fight that stigma? And we're not ubiquitous in salons and barbershops just yet, but at this point, getting into over 150 salons and barbershops across the country, I think every day we really are proving this stigma wrong, and that natural products can get into and thrive in this professional setting. Ben and I don't come from a background of hair or cosmetology or barbering whatsoever. So it's really important from us from the beginning to not be disingenuous and pretend that we knew a lot about hair, but rather to partner with people who knew of a hell of a lot more than we did,
Sure.
and people who could help us on that journey and educate us. And I'm rambling now. I want to know what I'm missing here from your perspective.
I mean, when we had the pucks, we brought it into a local barbershop through a loose connection. And it was Rollins Barbershop in Boulder, Colorado. We had maybe sold a few units to friends and family, no strangers yet, but it was our first account, and they like agreed to carry us maybe 12 units of the paper pucks. And I remember, I think we got a text or a call from the owner of the barbershop, Anthony, and he was just blown away by the performance of it. And he had a lot of uh, bad experiences with natural or better for you products that weren't necessarily thriving in his barbershop. A lot of people tried coming in with other sorts of formulas, and this was the first one that he was really excited about. He's now a part of the team still. You've met him
Yeah.
twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great dude, and he still owns the shop in Boulder, and it's one of our better accounts as well. And that was from day one, like our launch pad into like, okay, we've never been in this industry before, but we have people that are veterans in the industry already, in the first few months that are living by this product behind the chair in the shop every single day. And then from there, we started getting into more. And then we got introduced to another really special person as well.
Yeah, I think that's what made us naive and fearless enough to have the kind of audacity to think that we could somehow start a successful business, which again was really scary. But getting some of that validation, like, once we were in a barbershop, we were like, man, nobody can screw with us. Like, we can do this. Like, this is proof of concept, right? So we really latched onto all of those early wins and didn't let anything kind of stand in our path from there. But yeah, Anthony Levdonsky, he's been such an amazing member of the team and so helpful to us in our journey, has opened so many doors for us throughout our education. But the one partner that we really wanted to take a second to highlight on this podcast was Kurt Kiefner, who you did meet at ABS Chicago and has been.
I think we shared a couch for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, yeah, and he'll hold court.
Well, yeah, he did.
He'll hold the mic for sure. Yeah, Kurt is an industry legend, early executive at Aveda and American Crew. Back when he was mine and Ben's age, got to see what it was like with Horace building the Aveda brand and building out those first few SKUs. We met Kurt Kiefner through David Rakulia, the founder of American Crew. And for some reason, I think it's just been so many of these serendipitous connections, but like Oliver, like so many other great people like yourself, Corey, that have taken a genuine interest in what we're doing. And yeah, Kurt fell in love with the brand, fell in love with us, and he's been like Highland's dad ever since, in trying to help Ben and I and the rest of the team understand the industry and, really help us solve for interesting problems as we continue to grow online, of course, but as, through our genuine interest of solving a need in the professional community and catering to the professional community, making sure that everything we're doing, speaks to them. Again, coming back to, our very first couple minutes on this conversation, like being part of that community. So huge shout out to Kurt Kiefner for being that to Highland.
So what, I have a few more questions. So have you consulted with Anthony about like what he would like to see in a product or what product he could use or he'd like to see you guys produce next?
Absolutely. Yeah. Anthony was definitely involved in the development of the Glacial Cream too. So, the pomade kind of came out of the gates with that low shine, medium hold, really versatile product. I mean, it can replace everything from a sea salt spray to a texturizing cream, but we call it low shine, medium hold, but it's incredibly versatile in just how it's used across hair types, across gender. But, trying to round out the styling line, we thought next would be best to do something that was a little bit lower hold, a little bit more matte finish, kind of catered to curlier hair types and longer hair types in a way that the pomade didn't work perfectly for. And yeah, we had so much help from, the people around us who knew a lot more about the industry and industry needs to go and create that product. And although we've only launched one more product since, the wash, which is an incredible cleanser optimized for hair and scalp, we've got a lot more in the pipeline that we're super excited about, hopefully bringing to market in 2026 too.
Well, I can tell you this, that since April, I've used nothing but the Highland wash, except for the month of July. I didn't go to Cambodia with it. So the puck went with me, but the wash didn't. You got to be considerate of what you're packing there. A puck fit nice. However, to be honest, I didn't want it to get it confiscated because it's not under like whatever that 3.8 ounces is or whatever.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love the product. I use it as a face wash as well because, I've got hair everywhere. And so, but I absolutely love it. And like my bottle's running low and I got to go break open my second bottle. And that was surprising too. I mean, I've had it since April and I use it daily and I'm literally just getting through my first bottle. And the bottle doesn't look very big, but you just need a little bit of it.
Yeah, it doesn't take much for sure. It's we're really proud of that formula. It functions. It's familiar. Like everyone knows how to use a shampoo out of a pump bottle like it. So I love that it like blends this world of like what's familiar to people with at the same time with like such an innovative ingredient deck, incredibly clean ingredients and all the science backed evidence we have of, these powerful botanical ingredients and how they really benefit and boost hair and scalp health. Yeah, it's, lightning in a bottle a little bit. It's a great product.
It's an amazing product, and that's from user use there. I absolutely love it. Okay, so if I'm a pro, how do I go about setting up a pro account? What's that look like?
Yeah, you can just go right to our main website. We spent a little bit of time building a completely separate portal. You just go right to the main site, highland.style, not .com.style, and you just go navigate right to the wholesale tab, and you can fill out a short application. Our boy Jack, he runs the program, so he'll get back to you. And there's an application process where we try to be really particular with who we do work with and the best of the best. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, we want to be on all the salon and barbershop shelves. So please come check us out. Just again, that's www.highland.style, and then go to the pro site from there.
Boone, how old are you? Do you really have to say www?
I'm ancient, dude. I just turned 30 this year.
Make me want to. Will you slap him, Ben? Come on, man. Come on, man.
Hey, man.
That's really
you know
cool.
more about AI than us.
The industry has some dinosaurs too. You got to be explicit in your directions.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah. My apologies. www.highland.style.
.style.
.style.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Can you talk about products coming?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we can. It's something that we've typically held very close to the vest, but we're excited about what we're
Hold
working
on. Let me slow you down real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking from experience here, like I've certainly partnered with some product companies that I'm really excited to work with. And honestly, one of the things that I'm excited is that they have very few SKUs. And then sometimes they get bought out by a bigger conglomerate or whatever. And now all of a sudden they have 8,000 SKUs. And, the issue always is can't be better. And are they just putting SKUs on the shelf so you shop more shit? And then it feels disingenuous. So how are you guys assuring that that's not your play necessarily, and that you're really creating products that are needed and not just to have a SKU?
Facts.
Such a good point.
Yeah, that's it's what we've honestly, we never try to badmouth other brands, but that's something we've hated about the industry is just how over skewed all of these lines are, which I think is a real disservice to the consumer too, because it's confusing. If you're looking for a mousse or a leave-in, the fact that you can choose between 3 different options from a single brand, it's not versatile. I think you're right. You're just kind of trying to sell more shit at that point. At the same time, we've always really led with the idea of Highland and our products being versatile and multi-use, but that can only go so far. We don't want to be naive enough to think that any product we release can serve all people, all hair types, all genders. And that's something that we really want to do a better job of serving and expanding into. So everything is super intentional. We really try to keep the development board clean. We're never going to be a 20 SKU line, but I do think we could get to 7 or 8, and that's on hair. We have some aspirations to branch out of hair a little bit as well. So
you guys should start a tattoo cream company.
What'd you say?
You should definitely start a tattoo cream company.
Yeah. I think Oliver would be psyched on that.
And these boys.
So what you can expect for sure, a complement to the wash and the shower is going to be a conditioner. We're also really excited about the functionality of a leave-in conditioner. We're pumped about the idea of doing a really great kind of volumizing air dry mousse or foam. What else?
Yeah, I mean, just to round out the styling line as well, just a higher product. We designed the pomade and the cream to pretty much enhance your natural texture, make your hair still feel like your hair. And that's going to be the goal. It's actually really, really hard to create a true high hold product that leads by that same ethos. So it's in the works. It's getting to a point that we're really excited about. We think, people have needs, and some people need a little bit more structure and control throughout the day.
Yeah. That's been the biggest complaint about the Glacial Clay Pomade is guys who just want, more of that hard held look throughout the day. So
right, if there is one, yeah.
It's difficult. We push our labs super hard, our labs who are already quote unquote specialized in natural formulations. I think working with Highland is pretty painful for these labs because we take those standards kind of to another level. we're always striving to be, there's some good standards out there, like Environmental Working Group Verified, EWG, Sephora Clean, Credo Clean. And we try really hard, and I think do a great job of meeting and exceeding all of those standards. But even some of these existing, clean beauty certifications aren't perfect. All of these are flawed in some way or another. And I think that's where Highland can really be like part of that, be the trailblazer to usher in like the next stage of clean beauty, and executing that, not just to say, look how clean and great we are, but for the purpose of consumer and professional trust, that Highland is the brand, that whether you're behind the chair or whether you're in the bathroom getting ready for the day, use Highland, because it's become such a trusted name in how much we care about cleanliness.
Yeah, and Corey, speaking to the professional community as well, and like just being over skewed for like a lot of these brands, we want our pro community to be excited and find utility in everything that we make. We actually have like a very intimate kind of like testing community of salon owners and employees and stylists and barbers that every time that Boone gets new samples, we ship them out to this trusted team to help us in that feedback process. So at the end of the day, like we're never going to release anything that the professionals are not in love with themselves. And I think that also just speaks to like the quality and the standards that we do have as a brand.
And Kurt, again, has been instrumental in helping us put that, we call it our steering committee, together, or just some of the most prestigious salons and barbershops that he's ever worked with throughout his career. And, at the same time, like we're a 4-person company over here. I should say 5. My wife does all of our customer service. We're a 5-person company over here. And we don't have as much like qualitative data needs that, a lot of these other companies do. Yes, we test, we're rigorous about how, getting the right feedback, but it's still much more art than science. Like we have to follow our gut and into what we think. Who knows if the pomade went through such rigorous testing, it may have been like, this is too different from stuff I've used in the past. Yeah. It's knowing which feedback to take, knowing which feedback not to take. And that's where the innovation kind of lives.
All right. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I think I'm going to bring it up, and I hope you guys don't squirm, because it very much feels like to me like 2,000 Yelp reviews. But I'm seeing more and more of my clients, and honestly, even like other hairstylists that I work with, that are, everyone's using the Yuka app now, and the Yuka app kind of goes in and like it I'm going to put in quotes, it verifies how natural or how good the product is for you. And whether you hate it or whether you love it or whatever, it doesn't matter because people are using it. So, we've got to at least pay attention to it on there. Where do you guys sit with that? What's and is it a consideration? Your Yuka score?
We pay attention to it.
For sure. Yeah. I think we do pay attention to it. I think what Boone was getting at before as well with a lot of these beauty standards is there are pitfalls to like the overarching app, for everything, right? If like just scan a product and it tells you everything, there's obviously going to be flaws in that system. We also really love the app too, but I think a lot of where it falls short sometimes is the concentration of the certain ingredients that you are using. Or if, let's say, there's a rare sensitizer, a preservative that is incredibly widespread and common that may be needed in order to protect the potency of the formula, like Boone was saying, it doesn't score certain additives that actually are benefiting the formula in appropriate ways. But that being said, like it's still such a great app. There should be more of them, and it's something that we are definitely fond of on our end.
Yeah, I think it's, I can't remember what you said, Corey, but you put it in quotes. It's imperfect, but you got to give them credit for trying to make clean beauty cleaner, right? And clean eating cleaner. It's not just skin products, and hair products. Like, yeah, I think let's just talk about phenoxyethanol. Like, we use phenoxyethanol and ethyl hexylglycerin in the glacial cream because it has water, and it's incredibly important to us that our consumers aren't, their product isn't growing mold or getting hands and limbs and legs and crawling around on their countertops. We use phenoxyethanol at 0.1% concentration by volume. It has a great synergistic effect with the ethyl hexylglycerin. So the combination is less than 1% of the formula. To Yuka specifically, it doesn't matter if it's 99% of the formula or 1% of the formula, it's going to crush your score. So the glacial cream actually is one that doesn't score well on Yuka. We're stoked that the pomade and wash score incredibly well. And we are actively and always looking to use different preservatives than phenoxyethanol, which is imperfect on its own. But, I think that just kind of sums up, like, we live in this era right now where there's a lot of unknown, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of research going into like what, is this good? Is this bad? And at what inclusion rate is it good or bad? What are the long-term health effects of using an ingredient like this? So that's just where we're trying to err on the side of caution and err on the side of innovation. But, I think it's important to be honest about that at the same time.
I'm excited for you guys, and I don't know if it's because you guys and we're friends now, but my entire feed is filled with like natural. I mean, even like natural underwear and natural shirts and natural. And I've actually pretty much for about 8 months now. Everything that I buy within back to like kind of like natural wool, or I'm really a big fan of hemp right now. Big
Oh
shout
yeah.
out to Underdog t-shirts. I've bought more than a few of my Underdog t-shirts because they are a hemp bamboo product that I absolutely love. It's still soft, and I've actually changed all my underwear over to bamboo. If that's TMI, oh well.
No, I was curious. I switched over to the organic cotton nads, they're called, but I wanted to know what you're using too.
Yeah, how do you say it? A-sense or something? It's like all bamboo. It's 100% bamboo. Which
Nice.
is really lovely. Well, to be honest, I bought them to go to Cambodia because I was like, if I have to throw them away, whatever, it's fine. I can just, toss them out there. But I also wanted something that would breathe a little bit, and that wasn't a plastic product, I think we can probably thank Under Armour for that. They came to market with all these plastic shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, it seems like there's this big trend now, and I don't know if it's a trend or just a lifestyle or an eye opening or whatever, but it seems like a lot of not just hair products that are going back to or are becoming more and more natural. I love the idea of hemp. I love the idea of hemp clothing, and I love the idea. I'm kind of glad hopefully we're past the whatever of hemp. I think we're gonna find a lot more sustainability with it. I think we're gonna find a lot more uses for it now that it's not like deemed illegal, because clothing should be illegal. But I'm really excited about what the future holds in that sense. Wait a
We're
second.
with you. We hope it's not a fad. I mean, like, it's a wave of education right now. These synthetic plastics that we're wearing are ending up in vital organs. So the skin products and hair products we're using that contain microplastics, same thing's happening. They are going transdermal. I know there's a lot of debate around that. I kind of like to subscribe to, like, Andrew Huberman talks about this with Rick Rubin, about how, again, it's debated, but about these products and ingredients going transdermal, ending up in our blood, ending up in our organs. And regardless of sort of where that debate lands and what the long-term implications are, we want to be erring on the side of caution and doing things cleaner. So I think it's much more like you said, like that awakening. And, we're glad to be part of that movement, honestly.
Yeah, I love it. I love the trend of it. I actually love all the information that's coming out about it. And the thing about it, especially being a guy and like these like microplastics and like how it just like destroys your testosterone and just wreaks havoc on your whatever that is.
Yeah.
Endocrine system.
Endocrine system. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, just that it's just like creating havoc to that. Like, you just want to get it out of our young boys too, like
Get it out. Yeah. Be done with it.
I'm with you. I'm also like a big fan of alpaca. If anything's made out of alpaca, I'll definitely buy it. My hat's
Cozy.
alpaca.
Nice.
No
I've been looking
plastic
for a
hat.
nice beanie. You like that one?
Yeah, you know what I like about it is that most beanies with my big old noggin get tight and then I get a headache. And these are like looser. And because it's alpaca, it just kind of sits a little bit better. Do you guys get headaches from them? My beanies kill me, man.
I see what you mean.
My sleep mask does it. It's too tight around my head. Cuts
get
off
a
the
headache?
circulation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's the worst.
It is the worst. What's Corey, talk to us about what's going on with hair industry over the next year. What's 2026 look like for you? Enough about Highland. Honestly, we want to hear about what's going on in your world, friend.
I mean, listen, man, last year I can honestly say 2025 for Corey, set aside hair industry for a sec, but for Corey, 2025 was probably the best year of my life. I discovered and recognized more about myself than I have, my entire life. So it's just been 2025 has been an incredible year. I learned while I was in Cambodia that I'm no longer a searcher and that I'm a seeker. How I define that is when you search, you're searching for, And when you're seeking understanding. So it's very much just a mindset shift about looking for understanding, looking for answers. That's really nice because there's nothing to connect to any kind of outcome when you're just looking for understanding is not outcome. Answers are outcome. So when you can kind of remove the outcome part, like there's a lot more peace in that. I've recognized a lot more peace in my life this year as well. That's 2025. I got to do some really cool. I got to go to Cambodia, which was, absolutely positively life-changing. I also got to get to Spain, which was absolutely positively a great time. The opposite of Cambodia, but it was
very
Ibiza.
different.
Yeah. I mean, you can't. I don't know if you get any further from Cambodia to Ibiza. However, that was really cool. 26. I mean, we're hoping to get out hot. I'm getting invited to do a lot of cool stuff in 2026. Early on in 2026, I am doing. Oh, that's where that sweatshirt. So last year, a little story for the listeners here. Last year, I went to a Serious Business in New Orleans, and I was wearing my Highland shirt. And Highland, we didn't even talk about it. We probably should have opened with it, but Highland has the best motto in the world, and that is "Stop putting shit in your hair." And every time I wear the sweatshirt that says "Stop putting shit in your hair" to a hair event, I get stopped a million times. And to be honest, that sweatshirt's kind of beat up now, but I'm going to keep on wearing it because I keep getting stopped because people are like, "Where the hell did you get that sweatshirt?" And I'm always telling the B-boys that it's the greatest motto ever. And Serious Business they're involved with Aveda or whatever. And one of the Aveda guys stopped me and he goes, "I hope those guys have that trademark, because if not, I'm stealing it." So I texted the B-boys immediately and I was like, "I hope you boys have this trademark because Aveda's trying to steal it." So I did hear earlier in this conversation before we jumped on that, in fact, it is trademark. So take your trademark and shove it there, or take your stealing and shove it. But all that to be said is that I'm going back to Serious Business in January. So you'll catch me there in New Orleans. March will be in New York. April, we have our show, which is Presley Poe and Friends. That's the last week of April. We have that going on. So we're stoked and excited about that. We're going to get you boys out for that guy. Just to come hang. If you just want to come hang, just come hang. It's a very cool environment. And then, we'll do all the hair shows. We'll do ABS in April as well, and Orlando, and I'll be back in Chicago in September, and whatever. I'm just, we'll be on the road there. So yeah, we've always got a lot going on with all that. So yeah, I don't know. That probably didn't answer your question, but that's what we're up to in 2026.
No, it answers it. It answers it.
Yeah, I think so. Do you have a favorite hair show, or are you not allowed to say?
No, I'll say. Presley Poe.
There you go. Easy. That was very political of you.
Yeah, exactly. I like them all for different reasons. Not all of them are the same. I love New York, but to be honest, and I hope they're not listening, but with the IBS show, whatever. But Hairbrained, and I love the guys at Hairbrained. I love Hairbrained. They do their HVA awards on that.
You guys won the podcast of the year, right?
We did.
The Hairbrained Awards. There we go. Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Yeah. So last year we won podcast of the year. So I just love that event. It's just a cool event. It's a very cool room. You're there for about 2 or 3 hours. And for me, it's a 2-hour train ride or 3-hour train ride. So it's super, super easy. It's super cheap, so it's just, it's just easy to do. And it's a very cool party. And it kind of for me, kind of kicks off the year. Oh, okay, this is how this year is going to be a little bit. ABS, I love ABS just because I love the Midwest, I love the people of the Midwest, except for those Clevelanders. But if we can remove the Clevelanders, no, I'm just kidding.
Aside from them, we're all good.
I think Frank Folco is from Cleveland, the president of ABS. I think he's from
Really?
Yeah. The mob boss. Yeah, Frank Folco.
There you go.
Actually, he's from Chicago, but I think he lives in Cleveland. I think his wife's in Cleveland.
Gotcha.
He's raised his kids in Cleveland and stuff, so close enough. Premier Orlando is kind of my flagship. It's where everything is happening. It's where we get to like we talked about earlier, get to talk to our friends, get to dig a little deeper there, and I get to meet I got to meet Oliver there, and I met you guys there. So there's always that, and I'm always seeking that out. I'm always who's my next best friend, and that doesn't mean you get rid of the old friends. It's just you just to
hold us tight, man.
That's it, man. You just like to build it all up, man. That's cool. I also like the after hours at Orlando as well. That's pretty cool.
Super fun. That's what we like best too.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, and it's not even about the big parties or anything. It's just hanging out at the bar.
So nice.
So true. Yeah.
It's just about the chit chat.
Warm weather, chit chatting.
That's it. Well, sometimes it's hot weather. but in Orlando. Yeah. And then I do an event every September in Chicago called Beauty Gives Back, which is a fundraiser, which I absolutely positively love. And then I know that I got some other stuff coming up in the fall as well that I can't quite talk about yet. But some really cool stuff that might be happening in Kansas City. So if you can figure that out, we'll figure that out.
Get us involved for Beauty Gives Back too, please.
Done. I will. I'll introduce you to Julie and Maria. Maria's she's a friend to have. Did I introduce you guys to her?
I think yeah, way back. I'm not sure if anything came from it, but yeah, let's reopen the conversation.
Yeah. She's great. She's the she's the godmother of the industry, man. She's amazing and just an extraordinary woman who leads Heart Forward. And I love that about her. I think it's kind of like where we meet there, So yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen. Well, coincidentally, she's in China right now. Coincidentally, only because she's building new products in China, but whatever. That's her business. Should be talking out of school. But yeah, so that's what we going on. All right. So Highland.style. I can sign up for a pro account there. And then again, man, if you're listening in, currently they have 3 SKUs. I think it's a perfect size product line to give a go, to give it a try. And, I know, and I'm confident that you guys are going to love it. Like I said, absolutely. Oh, here I did earmark this question. Are you guys going to have a back bar size of the shampoo?
That's a great question. We don't have a firm decision on it yet. It's something we need to put some more thought and a plan into. And we do want to. Right now for back bar, we do send free back bar with every single order. If you order a 10-pack of the pomade, cream, or wash, you get 2 back bar for free. I think that's right.
Yeah, 12. Sounds about right.
Anyway, you get 2 free with every single pack purchased. So we definitely try to include enough back bar for the entire door to be using, for every stylist or barber to be using. Anyway.
If you math that out, that's pretty good though, because if you buy 10, you're giving 20% back.
Yeah. And that's important though. People need to try the product in the shop. We get it. And they don't trust anyone more than whoever is the person behind the chair. So that's just such another important piece of why we need to connect with the people behind the chair so that they're preaching, about how much they love our product.
Awesome. All right, boys. Where else can they find you? Give us your Instagrams, give you all that stuff.
Yeah, Instagram, Highland Style Co. One whole long word across all of our socials, same username, Highland Style Co. CO.
Some guy who with 200 followers owns the Highland handle must not be active on Instagram because we've messaged him 100 times and offered him a lot of money for the handle, and he's never even got back to us. So we're figuring Meta, Facebook, if you're listening, please give us the Highland handle.
Yeah, please we need a big campaign.
Yeah.
Everybody
give us the Highland handle.
Hit up Meta and give them the Highland handle.
We've tried.
At this point,
we've tried.
What would you do though? Would you really, if you had the Highland handle, would you just switch everything over, or would you control both?
How could we not? I mean, at Highland,
But for now, it's at Highland Style Co. Find us there. Corey, thank you so much for having us on, dude.
Boys,
really fun chatting, catching up with you.
It's always great seeing you guys. I'm so excited to watch how you guys grow and watch how the product grows. And I'm super grateful for Oz for introducing us. You guys are a highlight of even meeting Oz, and I appreciate him and I appreciate you guys, and just really, really super stoked to sit back and eat the popcorn as you guys are changing the industry, certainly, how products are done and distributed and all that good stuff. Anyways, I'll go on and on and on and on about that.
Thank you.
Oliver's going to listen to this episode every time he's having a bad day just to cheer himself up.
Yeah.
He should do. All right, Ben and Boone, thank you guys for hanging out, and thank you very, very much for joining us on your day off.